You look good.
Cute.
You smell nice.
Stop, baby. Stop.
Baby, just
I'm shy.
not a new perfume.
No, it's the one you got me.
Gee, that smells so good.
Thank you, babe. But that's not what we're talking about today.
We're going to talk to me.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to our YouTube channel.
It's been a minute.
It's been a long time. My name is Alice, and this is my husband Nehemiah, who I'm going to be interviewing today. So
Interview, like a whole thing.
Whole thing.
Jeez. Okay.
I'm going to be calling this series The Honest Room. And I'm going to be calling you up in here to ask you a series of questions. Very deep questions.
We're going deep.
Deep.
Yeah.
Deep.
I like that. Yeah.
I'm going to be hitting you with fire questions every episode. And I want you to answer me honestly. Because this is the honest room.
Yeah, you did that.
So today's topic is submission versus leadership. But before we start that, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm great.
Yeah?
I woke up on the right side of the bed today.
Yeah.
It's been good. Life's good.
Okay, that's good. And how long have you been married, if I may ask?
If you don't know.
Hey, I'm interviewing you.
Well, I've been happily married for like 6 months, but I'm totally married for like 3 years.
Don't play with me. Do not play with me. Happily married for 6 months.
No, I'm playing. I've been happily married for 3 months.
Wait, nah. You.
Listen, I've been happily married for almost 3 years now.
Okay. Yeah. And how is marriage going for you so far?
It's an experience. It's a learning curve. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's revealing. It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm happy to hear that, because, your life is just so beautiful.
Don't tell her that.
Okay, so the first question I have for you is, do you believe submission is one-sided?
Okay. I'd say no, per se.
Okay. Can you please explain why?
I'll break it down. Okay. This is what I think. This is what I believe.
Okay.
So there's two types of submission to me.
Okay.
Right? There is, according to the Bible, of course, all my answers are based off the Bible because that's my number one.
You're a Christian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So according to the Bible, what I understand is there's two types of submission. There's mutual submission and there's authoritative submission. So mutual submission, God calls me, right, to submit to you in the sense that I need to be of servitude to you, which means I need to be able to put your needs, your desires, your wants above myself. I shouldn't be selfish. Called to serve you. What you need is what I need to provide. The same goes for you as well. You're called to serve me in submission. All of this is in reverence to God. It's not because I want to, but because God has called me to. Of course, I still want to anyway.
You better want to. What you mean?
I still want to, but yeah, I'm submitting to you, of service to you, because that's what God wants us to do, right? So that means I'm not allowed to be selfish. That means I'm supposed to cater for your needs in every way that I can. Basically, put you above myself, right? And then on the other side, there's authoritative submission. Now that one's a command. So same way God has called man to submit to God, and wives to submit to their husbands. This is the hierarchy of authority that God has placed. And people don't understand, submission is not just you doing what the other person wants. No, it's you respecting their authority and their leadership, right? The reason why I say that is because husbands, where do we get our authority? Where do we get our leadership? Is from God. So He gives us the guidance and the blueprint what to do, and then we come and lead the home. And when God says, wives, submit to your husband, He's saying, respect his leadership, because that's the role that I've placed him in.
Wow.
That's where I've put him to be in a position of leadership. So when I call you submit to him, I need you to submit to his leadership. And the funny thing is, everybody just says submission, but don't realize what submission means for the person you're submitting to. It means that now they have to answer for you.
Wow.
So anything that you do is on my head.
Okay.
So because I'm responsible for your actions, you have to follow what I say. Because God's gonna be like, yo, this lady, what's going on? You're like, I put you in charge. I entrusted her with you, to guide, to lead her, to nurture, to cultivate what I've put in her, right? And if you're not doing that, then you're not fulfilling your role as a husband, what God has called me to do. So yeah, submission it's not one-sided.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's deep.
That's very
It's deep.
strong.
It's deep,
That's
yeah.
very strong. Wow.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that really did answer my question.
Yeah.
So what does leadership look like in a modern African household?
Leadership.
We spoke about submission. Now,
Yeah.
what does leadership look like in a modern household, African household?
So firstly, in African household, forget the modern part, we have misconstrued leadership. You know, growing up, we think leadership is dictatorship. I sit here on the throne and you do whatever I say. But actual leadership means leading by example. Look at Jesus Christ, for example. He washed his disciples' feet. You know, a leader, you show them what needs to be done, not tell them what to do.
Wow.
So in a modern African household, the way I see leadership is I have to show you what I want you to do. So I do it first so you can see how I do it, and then you follow in my footsteps. Wow. So once something done, instead of me telling you to do it, I go and do it and tell you, babe, this is what I expect of you. And me as a leader, I lead the way. I show you how it's done. Because basically leadership just means head servant, basically. You're called to be of service to the people that you're leading. Like Jesus during his time on earth, he was the leader, but he was serving everybody, all his disciples. Like in old day African household, if you tell your leader to wash your feet, they're gonna be like, what are you talking about? I'm the person who should be washing my feet. You know? But Jesus humbled himself as a leader to wash his disciples' feet, because as a leader you're called to lead by example, lead the way, and the other people follow. So short answer, what leadership looks like in an African household is me leading the way and showing my family what I expect. Sort of me setting the bar and then you guys following.
So would you wash my feet?
Of course, I wash your feet every day.
You do?
Yeah. I wash your feet every day and I enjoy doing that.
Yeah,
that's what leaders are called to do, you know, show the way, not just say.
Okay. Wow, that's really strong, because growing up, I did not see it that way. It was very much a dictatorship. Man tells a woman what to do and she has to do it. There was no form of showing. And a lot of the times, that's how I guess the African structure is. You know, a woman is supposed to just submit to her husband and do everything that he tells her to do, but he is not doing the same thing back, or not even leading by example. And a lot of the times women get very exhausted trying to, you know, please the man and trying to submit to the man when the man is also not doing what God has called them to do. So that's really strong. Thank you for your answer. So where do we draw the line between culture and control?
Culture and control. I feel like this is a never-ending debate. I feel like being African, right? We confuse culture and control a lot. Right? So culture is like your sense of belief, where you come from, your sense of identity, right? But then we confuse culture with restriction. We confuse culture with laws, right? The reason why I say that is, so culture tells me this is where I belong, and this is my roots, this is where I come from, these are my beliefs, this is how we do things. But that doesn't mean, in African culture, we think that means be silent, belittle yourself, you know, don't speak up, don't challenge the status quo.
Okay.
But because of that, it becomes more of control. So culture is now keeping you in a chokehold. I can't do this because of my culture. Did you ask why? Did you figure out why? Because if you don't know why, then it's controlling you. You know, it's sort of like in military, they tell you do it and ask questions later. So it's a very blurred line that I feel like as an African child, it's something that we haven't been taught growing up. You know, culture, respect culture, uphold culture, pass down culture, but we shouldn't be afraid to challenge. You know, I'm still upholding who I am as a person, but I need to understand what it is that I'm upholding. You know, I need to be able to question, okay, fine, I see this, but why am I actually doing that? You know, my culture doesn't mean that I should be quiet. My culture doesn't mean that I should let everybody walk over me because that's a sign of respect. No, you know, being able to stand up and speak up and question isn't a sign of disrespect. It's not. But we've been made to understand that it is. And that's where the control aspect comes in. So we've let culture now become a controlling influence over our lives. where we're afraid to step outside the boundary. We accept to challenge the boundary. We are afraid to challenge the boundary. We're afraid to step outside of the boundary because of culture. So I feel like it's really, really something that we need to educate ourselves about, educate our children about. It's not bad to ask questions. It's not bad to challenge the status quo. It's not bad to be curious. You don't just accept and receive things because culture says it. What if culture is wrong? And also what I think also we confuse is that it's not culture that is saying that. Culture is just like your way of life, your beliefs, like where your people come from, like the stuff that you relate on, the beliefs, your food, your culture is very beautiful. We made it into something very toxic that is holding us, usually young Africans, from actually evolving and adopting and changing and growing.
I agree 100%. I think a lot of the times we are enslaved by the idea of culture, and a lot of, I can speak for myself, but a lot of us young people struggle to even go outside our norms, to go outside of our culture, to actually explore what's out there because of the fear of culture. Culture tells us we need to do things this way, but like you mentioned, what if culture is wrong? What if culture is holding us bound? What if culture is enslaving us? And a lot of the times that's what ends up happening. And a lot of Black people and African people end up not being what they aspire to be or what God called them to be, because they're bound by that culture and not letting God lead them, or not letting their passions lead them, or where they need to go next. So that's really strong.
And also another important thing as well is, as Christians, we need to understand that we're adopting the biblical culture, not our traditional culture. Okay. So for example, a lot of cultures believe in our ancestral beliefs and actions and practices. We can't carry that. As Christians, they believe in Jesus Christ. There's something else that we believe in. So holding that culture, like you said, is holding you back from fulfilling God's will in your life, because you're now praying and believing and passing on ancestral beliefs, ancestral traditions that should have never been kept. And in that way, you're making that an idol over actually following God. So it's deep. I feel like it's a really, really important topic that we need to educate ourselves with as a young African man.
I heard you're a father of two.
You heard?
I heard. I heard you're a father of two. How's that going? How's parenthood going?
Parenting is interesting. It's like it's a learning process.
Okay.
You're teaching these young humans to discover themselves while you're also learning more about yourself as well. I thought I was patient. I thought I was the most patient person.
I was gonna ask, what are 3 things that you believe you had a hard time discovering or understanding as a child in terms of culture and control that you think you want to do differently for your children?
It's a very, very good question. 3 things.
3.
I think it's being curious.
Okay.
A lot of times, like I said, culture keeps you bound in one way of believing, one way of seeing things, and one way of acting. You become, per se, tunnel vision. But being able to step out of that cultural bracket, that cultural wall, then you begin to see the world. You begin to understand different people, their way of life, their way of thinking. It opens up your mind. You begin to realize, hang on, there's some things that I thought or believed that were like this, but it's actually not like that. So it helps you learn and be a better global citizen, I'd say. That's what I've understood. Another thing that I would say culture has shaped in terms of parenting, for example, we grew up in a way where our parents could not be wrong, and yes, they always act out of a place of love, but not always is it received the same. As a kid, your parents would beat you, be like, these people don't love me. Why are they beating me? It's only until you grow up that you understand that, oh, okay, they actually did love me a little bit. But being able to do things differently as a parent in a way that I don't want to just tell my children that's wrong, but instead teach them why it's wrong. And I feel like that's one of the things that I had to learn more growing up. And as a parent now, I see it's more evident. A lot of times we're taught it's wrong, we never knew why it's wrong. But to a lot of people, a lot of kids also, they come out of their parents' house and they end up doing whatever. Because the whole time they were being told not to do it just because. They didn't understand why they shouldn't do it. And when they had the opportunity to do it, they're like, oh, I don't know what's bad about this. It's just that all I know is that I'm not supposed to do it. But now I can do it. Let me go do it. And they end up in, with bad consequences. So the last one I would say is my outlook on obedience. Growing up, I feel like a lot of Africans, we are taught obedience out of fear. So I obey because I'm afraid to disappoint, but not out of love or not because I want to obey, And as a parent, I want to teach my kids that your obedience and your respect for me is not out of fear of disappointing me, but out of love. Okay, fine. I'm not going to do this, not because I'm afraid to disappoint them, but because I know that I'm better than that, and my parents have taught me better, So a kid is deciding to make decisions based on their value, based on what they know, based on how the type of person you brought them up to be, and not based on their fear of disappointing you. Because in that instance is then they're actually making a better decision, Because if you're doing something just because you don't want to disappoint me, then you're not actually living for yourself. You're not actually learning. You're not actually growing. Like I've lived my life, I've lived my life. I made mistakes. I've grown. But then if you're not willing to go out there and make your mistakes, not willing to go out there and learn and discover yourself, all because you're afraid of disappointing me, you're never going to be who you're actually meant to be.
Wow.
And that's one thing I want to teach my kids. Like I'm going to raise them up in a way that they know who they are, they know their worth, they know the value. They just can't do whatever because it doesn't identify with the kind of person they are, and not that they shouldn't do something because they'll be afraid to disappoint me. Because reality, yes, I can be disappointed, but I'll never stop loving you. I'd rather you discover and learn and build and grow yourself than never be willing to try just because you're afraid to disappoint them.
Wow. Thank you so much. Those were really good answers. I learned a lot today. I learned a lot. Thank you for coming to the Honest Room. This is the end of the first episode.
I like this. When do I come back?
I'll let you know when you can come back.
Just some tips for the next episode. You should bring some snacks for your guests.
Oh, please.
Bring some snacks for your guests.
Alright, next time I'll bring you snacks. What would you like? Popcorn? Fufu? Fumbua?
Yeah, that's fun. Make it hot. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Thank you for coming. I know
wait
you
for
had
the
a
next
busy
episode.
day today, so thank you so much for making it. And thank you guys so much for watching the Honest Room. This concludes the first episode of this series that I'm calling
The Honest Room.
Please stay tuned for more to come. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and also just reach out if you have any questions or anything that you want to talk to us about. Please don't be afraid to reach out. Our socials down here. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace out.